Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are going to talk about uh, array manipulation. It is a continuation of talking about we're solving uh, some array or string problem. So let's talk about this. Let's understand more what we are going to do today. So it's like interesting array problem that we are trying to solve. It is called array manipulation. So what we're going to do is that you'll have one index array of zeros to begin with, and you'll have set of queries. So for each query, each operation also you can call it, we'll have three elements. Let's say it's a 2D array, and uh, first element will tell what is the starting index, second will tell what is the ending index, and third would be what number we are going to add on these two indexes from this A to B and including both as well. And once all the operations are done, we need to return the max value in the array. So quite interesting, but yeah, it's fun solving this, so you will understand it. So again, if you look at right side, there are two inputs. Basically, there are two set of inputs. First is we are taking that how many elements would be there on the array, that is and we are saying, and of course next would be that how many basically queries or 2D queries we are going to add. So the initial inputs are 2, and again based on the second how many queries will have subsequent inputs as well. Let's say we are saying 3 queries, then there will be 3 different uh, inputs to be taken in a 2D array, and those will be like A, B, and K. So as I said, A is starting index, B is ending index, and K is value to be adjusted, and here it is sum. So you got to add the value K, starting index A, ending B, all the elements, right? So that's how this is going to be. Okay, so let's understand a bit more about this problem. It's called array manipulation. So a little bit more example you can understand. So for example, there, let's say n equal to 10 array size. So there will be 10 elements. So you can imagine like that. Look at the left side bottom screen. So you can see 1 to 10, right? That is about n10. And queries, of course, we are saying uh, these are three set of queries. I can say 1, 5, 3, 4, 8, 7, 6, 9, 1. So basically 1, 5, 3 means start from index 1, and it is, by the way, again, if you remember, it is one index array, not 0. That is very common, right? So just for this thing you need to imagine it's a one index array. So starting from index 1 and goes till 5 and add 3 everywhere. So again, if you go back to the last example, last screenshot in the left side, first everything is 0, then you see from 1 to 5 you can see 3 added, right? Then 4 to 8 is index 4 to 8, 7 added, so hence you can see starting index 4, it's 3 was already there, so it became you got to add 7, so 10 got added, right, on 4 to 8 index. So you can see uh, basically the elements got added, the 7, the first 3 got become 10, and of course 0 became 7 because there was nothing, so it's like add, not the multiplication, so they got added. And the last is 6 to 9, so index 6 ending 9, both inclusive, you got to add just 1. So again you can see symbol become 8, and of course the last two elements become last one element become 1. So that's how this operation, and in the end you got to return, okay, what is the largest value in the last query. So as you can see, there are 3 elements, rather 4, 1, 3, 8, and 10, and largest is 10. So you got to return 10. So that's the, at a high level, what is the expectation from this problem. Again, a few constraints. Yeah, again, for example, you can see the element how we are going to in the right side. So 5 is the number of array on basically 3 is the number of queries, and again 3 are again put into three different as you can see the three inputs 1 200 2 500 3 400. It's the same thing as we discussed just now. So you know you'll understand it. Again, if you look at constraint here, it's quite interesting. So n and m are going to be a very large number, right? So the rudimentary approach or brute force approach may work for initial, I would say, not large inputs, right? But if you have large inputs here, you got to think a little different that uh, apart from brute force, anything else you can do. So yeah, and hence it's become a bit interesting problem, right? So again, brute force is not too difficult. As it looks straightforward that okay, starting from index A and going to B, and you keep adding uh, the numbers, right? So that's okay. So I think it's not a big deal. You can say okay, easy, but it will have a time complexity to do NO2. So basically O n square. So not a very I would say efficient approach, and it's very I would say uh, it won't be generally people don't accept this kind of solution. So you got to think efficient approach, and for that one thing of course called prefix sum approach. It's one of the I would say approach in data structure and algorithm world. So if you want to read more, you can read more about prefix sum approach, or if required we can make a video later. But for now, I'll try to simplify what this is, and you'll understand it. So prefix sum approach we are going to use to do exactly same thing. Again, approach 1 will also work, but as I said, because the number of inputs are so large, so it may not work in all the cases. So maybe number when we're adding a numbers, maybe this is 1000 and 10,000, it may still work, but after that it may not work. So it may not accept basically because uh, the two loops and the numbers may get very large. So we got to find efficient approach. And second approach again, there is no nesting. Though there are parallel loops, but it's like n plus n, not like n square. So a lot efficient, and of course complexity goes till O(n), not like O(n) square as it was in elementary approach. Okay, so let's demo time. Let's jump into how to work on this. Okay, so let's see. Let's start coding. And I'll learn what we're saying. So to begin with, we'll create a class. Okay. So let's start coding and see how to implement. So let's create a class called array manipulation. And again, if you follow my video, we create a call method generally call driver. So it will be a caller from main function. Although in the new version you will not find main, but uh, just for simplicity we are still adding main. In new C# version they abstracted even main as well. So anyway, the concept remains the same. That is a starting point. That's fine. That's not a big like the goal of this video is to make you understand how to solve it efficiently. So we can compiler things we can exclude for now. So driver again we need to if you remember what we discussed, that we need to have two kind of inputs. One is basically how many array elements, and also uh, you know uh, how many queries are we going to enter. So there are two kind of elements, right? So that we need to take and we'll be taking as well. So we need to create two different, I would say uh, basically two different approaches. So we'll do that, and for that let's initialize them. So I'm let's say I'm saying end n comma m, and these are elements where we are going to store this. And to do that, we can say n equal to console dot read line. It's not organizing. We need to include the library. Okay. Using system, yes. So console dot read line, and we need to basically we need to read, and also if you notice, right, in C sharp, basically we need to keep a space uh, between two elements. So split, we're going to split with a space, and what we can say is that we're all also going to have this zeroth one. We can take it as you know, could be the n, and the first element could be the m. So I'm just copy here, and it could be the second element would be the, yeah. One thing notice here is that one thing to notice here is that it may not, so by default it gives a string, so we need to also make it to parse it. So we can say int dot parse. Otherwise convert dot both basically work. So int dot parse. So now they're integer. So we got n and m basically, right? So now we also need to get elements which are it's like queries, right? We need to get queries as well. So to get that, we need to create a variable for that, and let's do that quickly. And that would be we can take a list of that because it will be two arrays kind of. So list of list. So list of, we need to include list as well. List of let's say we're taking some queries or something. So list of, and again they're going to be integers. So list of list queries, and okay, new, let's include it. So it's going to be generic, yeah, library, yep. So we're creating list library here. We are creating basically list object here, sorry, not library, to store the queries on this. And to have the queries, we need to again loop it, and let's get a loop. So we're getting for loop here, and this for loop should go till, so we have n and we have m, right? So it should go till m because m is where the queries, number of queries we are storing, so it should go till m. And this is a list, and of course we need to add those members as well on the list. So for that we can say queries dot add. Again, if you remember, there are three elements, right? And those needs to be, if you remember, we're taking first starting index, ending index, and also we are we are having uh, the what numbers to be added, right? So we need to basically read and split into with a space, and we need to add them. So it's going to be little longer syntax, but it's okay. And we're going to read from console dot line. So it is now read. Uh, Again, we need to split it so that it's kind of can be segregated from a space. It knows that it's different elements, and we can split by this. And now we are adding in, right? So basically we need to differentiate like different elements. So split and then of course to list. And here we should be using link operator to make it simple, right? Because if you remember, these elements are also basically after splitting, as we have done here, they are basically by default comes a string type. So we should be converting them into integer as well. So for that, we can use the link operator. Why this is not working? I think yeah, link also needs to be there. Yeah. So dot. Let's use a link. So here, what we're going to do is we are to we are going to convert basically, right? And we're going to convert, or we can also write in dot parse, no difference, both works. And which one we're going to parse? Basically the same x, right? So we can say x basically is a string by default, so we're going to convert into the integer. Okay. And this should be okay. So in that parse and x, this should be closed here, and this should be also to list type. Yeah, it should be fine now. So basically the all the I would say in the query list of list query. So on, let's say on zeroth index, the first rows elements will be added one by like first starting index, ending index, and the value, right? Goes till how many queries we have basically added here. So this is how this will work. Fine. So now initial setup is done. Now let's create a method where we'll perform the actual operations. So as I said, the numbers are a little bit large, so we need to also take about data type that we are going to use. So for that, I'm taking, let's say, long result, that will be the largest element of that final array, and I'm creating some private method called array manipulation. Let's create okay, so we'll create a private methods, that's fine. Array manipulation, and we need to pass basically two things: what's the array size and how many queries we have. So n basically, and if you the queries basically, and queries are of type this. So I'm just taking this completely, save time. So and this is going to be parameters. So now let's see if it is, yep, it's doing that. So private method came with these parameters, and this is not a bool, by the way. This is not bool. This is list of, I think, yeah, list of list of wait list of Oh yeah, this is a fault. This should be 2 here. So list of, yeah, teacher. Oh, and queries. What's wrong here? So now we should be taking this here as well. Yeah, sometimes automatic code generation doesn't do a good job, so that's okay. We always should be reviewing what it come up with initially, right? What's wrong here? So array manipulation end to end. Okay. Okay. So basically here, right? We shouldn't be using. Yeah. We just need a variable name. Yeah. So now let's go with first initial. As I said, rudimentary approach. So how to get it done? So we'll do that first, and then of course we'll see what happens, right? So let's say again we have taken long, so we need to take a, as if you remember, we should be having an array, and that array should be, we need to check the largest element on that, right? So let's take a integer array result equal to new long, and of course and side, that's fine. And it's a basic initial approach that you think when you get such a question, you think, oh, why not use loop? So let's use that, and then of course we'll understand what's the problem there. So this should go till not and, but here. So this, okay, first loop should be uh, queries, because queries are the ones that should be coming in forefront. Inside queries, will handle them how to go one by one. So starting from 0, and it will go till queries dot count. Yes. And of course, after that, again, another loop will come. Say I was saying that initial approach will have two loops. So let's say in first queries, and then of course it should begin from in the queries. If you notice, it's a 2D list basically. So uh, the first element. So let's initially it will be like it all any, but as you know, any by default array, or let's start from zero index. So it will work from zero only. Only for the sake of this problem, they are saying that the index from one, but we handle technically how to deal with that, right? It's not a big deal. So start on J. We should be like, we need to read that. It's a 2D list. So initially it will be 0, so first element, so that is fine here till here. And then so initially should be, if you notice, j equal to I equal to 0, I queries dot count, I plus plus. So j should be begin with what is the starting point, right, of that index. So not 0, but queries ith of zeroth element, because that has the starting point, right, of the index. So the first starting point of index is there in the zeroth position, the first element, and it goes till second element, because second element has the last index where you should till what you should proceed, or basically. So j less than, it goes till 1. Okay, and of course j plus plus, typical loop, right? Now let's see that. Okay, so result we should be entering again, I starting from 0. If you say it is starting from since it is a one index, right, we will also do j minus 1, because this one is starting from, because here it will come, right, the starting index. the problem will get still 1, but they mean 0 basically. So to make that happen, we are saying 0. And again, on that, this, and what we'll do, you can imagine, we'll be adding the value, and value is in where? Which index? It is in second index, right? So first index was having initial, so we're starting from here, the initial index to begin with. Second had the last index, so we're going till there. And third had what to to add on those index, right? So we're adding 2 here. I hope it's clear. And since this initial approach will not, I would say, will can use simply that. We can also have some code to find a maximum. Otherwise, we can use the construct of this result dot max. Otherwise, you can have another loop to, I would say, find the max. It's easy. Now let's see if it is working. To test it, we'll call it from here. Okay, we already called it, but we also need to print the result. And print the result console, right line. Let's print the result. Okay. So let's run this and see if it's working. To make this happen, we'll put here. Okay. Yeah. Now let's run this and see if it is working. Yeah. So if you remember, we had like the initial input will be, we need to give 2 inputs to, so I'm just taking the same example here so that you can relate. 5, 3. So 5 is the array size, 3 is the number of queries, and then we should be entering 3 different queries: 1 to 100, 1 to 100, 2 500, and 3 400. Right? 3 is nothing but and starting, 4 is ending, and add 100. Right now, let's see 200. Wow, this worked. So it's working basically. However, if you notice, again here, the numbers are very high, and in these high numbers, the nested array will break, and it broke. And actually, I have tested already. It broke, right? So, and hence you need to find a better, I would say, strategy to deal with that. And for that, let's find efficient approach. Okay. And efficient approach is, as I said, it uses concept called prefix sum. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create another private method, private static long. Let's call it. If there's no change on this, we'll copy paste to save time. Okay, we can use this here as well. No change. Only the change will happen on, even this first loop will also not change, because anyway we need to traverse still all the queries, so that's okay. The change here begins here is that you will notice now. Int, we need to create 3 different variables. So let's say int start equal to, again it is a start is, see, concept remain the same. Only thing is that we are making it more efficient, right? So that's, we are avoiding this nested loop because they're dangerous. They're like O n square, and it's it will become very slow. And again, to start, just have a 0 and 1 index, so make this -1. And 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 as you know, like know this till like the second index number has the end one. So okay, and value we are having is in third one, and this is nothing but this one, right? So we are creating a different variables here. Now it's I would say prefix sum technique, right? So we are adding some like value into the starting index and also reducing from index, and then you will see how this works. So result of start we are doing what we are doing is results of sorry start index. We are adding the value. So the starting index, add the number that you're supposed to add value, right? And unless you are in the last, right, or as long as the end index is less than number of we have number, right? How many numbers we have in the array? As long as it is less, also reduce that. So simple. Add here, reduce here. Okay. So minus value. It's a typical prefix sum approach. As you notice, only one loop here, so there is no need to have a nested loop here. That's the main advantage. Now the real story begins of prefix sum. So what we'll do is we'll get another variable, uh, long type of course because their type is a huge. So long, yeah, basically let's say max value. We can do, as I said, we can use the concept of to find max, or we can also iterate over that, right? So since we're anyway iterating, so we can use the typical traditional approach without any library methods. So max value, let's say initially 0, and long prefix sum. Prefix sum is equal to 0. We're initializing those variables, and then we have a for loop. For each loop, basically, we'll go where, let's say a in the array, we have result as array. Now what prefix approach will do? Basically, sum is do that it will keep adding the elements in an array. All it will have the sum of, so every index will have the sum of its previous element, right? So basically, you have to do prefix sum equal to prefix sum plus a. We'll keep adding that, and again to make it, I would say have a max. If prefix sum greater than max value, right? You know what is max value. Then of course max value equal to prefix sum. So max value will have the largest number ever, like at all times, right? So this is a typical way to find a max. You might have used in searching sorting as well. So with that we'll be able to find, and that's it. It's not difficult at all, and efficient. See, there is no two loops. So return what? Max value. That's what we need. Yep, that's what we need. Now let's see if any error, anything we missed. Okay. Oh, looks fine. So let's run this. To run this, we'll call this one start this time. So from here we'll have array manipulation 2, and we'll run it. Okay. use the same example, but it will be super fast. I tested as well. So 5 3, I guess. Let me check the numbers again. 5 3, yes. Then 1 2 100, 1 and 2 100, 2 and 5 again 100, and 3 400. Okay, 3 400. Okay, there is something wrong here somewhere. Let's see what is that. See. Okay. So array manipulation long 0 queries dot count 0 1 2 plus value is an and equal to, okay, here it should be and. That was a maybe mistake. So here start, add the same in start and reduce in the end. All right, this thing looks okay. Let's see again. 3 1 200 2 500 3 400. 200. Awesome, it worked. So as you notice, it is working and it's far more efficient than its initial, I wouldn't call rival, but yeah, initial sibling, you can say. So this is how we can make it more efficient with the prefixing approach. Going back, so we looked into this one. I think you have seen the example. We talked about these two approaches, and again I'll putting the code over here. So in case you want to refer the code later, you can go to this GitHub and see that. Again, thanks to the platforms from the name I have taken. They are the good platforms to find the problems and again find the solutions, right? So thanks to my gratitude to these platforms. It is a bit about me. Who am I? What I do? So this is my passion. What I'm right now recording the video. I love teaching people on such things, computer science fundamentals and other stuff as well. So that's pretty much from my side, folks. Take care.